They call it cold when you stop reaching out. They say you changed when you go quiet. They assume you don't care anymore because you no longer beg for attention, reassurance, or crumbs of affection. But what they never ask is why someone who once gave too much suddenly learned how to detach. Detachment doesn't begin with apathy. It begins with hope. It begins with someone who waited a little longer than they should have. Someone who explained their feelings one more time. Someone who stayed present even when their presence was taken for granted. And after enough silence, enough mixed signals, enough emotional neglect disguised as being busy, something inside them stops asking, not because they don't feel, but because they feel too much. Society loves loud pain. It understands anger, tears, confrontation, but quiet withdrawal, that gets judged. People assume it's punishment, manipulation, emotional avoidance. The truth is darker and far more intelligent. Detachment is the nervous system's final act of self-respect. When someone feels consistently unloved, unheard, or emotionally invisible, the mind doesn't scream forever. It adapts. It conserves energy. It learns to pull back before the rejection becomes permanent damage. And not everyone detaches the same way. Some detach silently, still loving deeply from a distance. Others detach sharply, cutting ties like a surgeon. But beneath every version is the same realization. If I have to beg to be valued, this is no longer love. There's a type I call the silent observer. This is the person who notices patterns long before they act. They watch how fast someone replies to others, but not to them. They notice how their emotional needs are minimized, joked about, or postponed indefinitely. They don't confront immediately. They collect data. The silent observer doesn't detach impulsively. They detach after understanding exactly where they stand. By the time they pull away, they've already grieved the relationship internally. They've already accepted that effort is one-sided. So when they go quiet, it's not passive aggression, it's clarity. Another type is the betrayed soul. This person believed in emotional safety. They opened up, they trusted, they showed vulnerability without armor, and that vulnerability was ignored, mishandled, or used against them. So detachment becomes a shield, not because they want to punish others, but because their system learned that closeness equals pain. They don't withdraw because they don't care. They withdraw because caring without reciprocity taught them what emotional abandonment feels like. To the outside world, the betrayed soul looks emotionally unavailable. Internally, they are hyper-aware, deeply sensitive, and tired of being the only one holding the emotional weight. Then there's the self-preserver. This type doesn't dramatize detachment. They don't explain. They simply redirect their energy. They stop initiating conversations. They stop overgiving. They stop trying to earn affection through usefulness. The self-preserver understands something most people don't. Love that requires self-erasure is not love. It's slow self-destruction. So when they feel unloved, they don't beg. They build a life where love is optional, not necessary for survival. They become emotionally independent, not because they don't want connection, but because they refuse to depend on people who make them feel replaceable. And finally, there's the emotional minimalist. This type used to feel deeply, intensely, maybe too intensely, but after repeated emotional disappointment, they simplify. They reduce expectations. They lower emotional exposure. They stop investing in people who create emotional chaos. From the outside, they seem detached, calm, almost indifferent. Inside, they are carefully protecting a limited emotional budget. The emotional minimalist doesn't numb themselves. They prioritize peace over passion, consistency over intensity, and solitude over emotional unpredictability. What all these types share is not fear of love, it's respect for their emotional boundaries. Detachment is not the absence of feeling, it's the refusal to continue feeling unwanted. And here's the part no one talks about. People who detach when they feel unloved are often the same people who love the hardest. They didn't start distant. They became distant after realizing their emotional depth wasn't being met. Detachment is not weakness. It's emotional intelligence, sharpened by disappointment. It's knowing when communication turns into self-betrayal. It's knowing when patience becomes self-neglect. It's understanding that love should not require you to disappear piece by piece. So if you've been told you're too distant now, remember, distance is what happens when closeness is repeatedly rejected. And if you recognize yourself in this pattern, there's nothing broken about you. You didn't shut down because you're incapable of love. You shut down because you're capable of protecting it. Detachment, when chosen consciously, is not running away. It's walking away with dignity. So, which of these types feels closest to you, or maybe a little bit of all of them? I'd love to hear your thoughts. If this made you think different, hit subscribe. We go deeper every day. Don't forget to like the video.